Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick, and I want to talk about in this video evolving the human relationship. I want to talk about evolving the human relationship and how your relationships with others is draining your energy and their energy as well. How your relationships with others is draining their energy and yours as well. Okay, now when you have two people and they initially meet, okay, the initial interaction, you have two things generally going on. All right. Generally, you have a person being judgmental and a person asserting themselves. Okay. You have judgment and assertion. All right. Now, based on how you are judging the person as the interaction continues, you are figuring out how you are going to assert yourself. All right. So if there's two headstrong people, they will constantly bump heads generally because neither wants to be subject to the other. If it's a headstrong person and a passive person, then the relationship kind of lives as the headstrong person constantly asserts themselves while the passive generally goes along with the likes of the headstrong person, right? That's generally how a typical relationship goes in our society. Now, from an energetic standpoint, who wins and who loses, though? Think about that. Who wins and who loses? Now, I would propose that they both lose. Okay, from an energetic standpoint, they both lose. Now, initially, a person may think, well, the headstrong person is winning. Okay, they're getting what they want all the time in the relationship. They seem to be the aggressor or the assertive one. What they say goes, the alpha. You know what I mean? Um, so you would think that that person is winning in the relationship, right? But I say from an energetic standpoint, they're losing just as much, if not more, as the passive one in the relationship. Now, why do I say that? In general, in these relationships, the aggressor or the person who, the headstrong, right? They're constantly, you notice they're constantly trying to assert themselves. They're constantly um, using energy to assert themselves. They have to stay in that position. It's not like just a one-time assertion and then that's it. It's always them constantly trying to stamp their flag. They're constantly stamping their flag. Now that is a form of exhausting your energy, whether you believe it or not, or whether you noticed it or realized it or not. That's a form of burning up your energy. When you're constantly having to assert yourself, it's just like a warrior. You going out to fight. You know what I mean? If you're going out in battle, whether you win or not, you lost a certain amount of energy in battle. Okay, so if you're constantly battling, you're constantly wasting energy. Okay, so that's from the standpoint of the headstrong person. Now, from the passive person, they're losing energy as well because the thing is, they may not be losing as much energy as far as trying to stamp their flag and always fighting. But at the same time, anytime you're suppressing yourself or you're being suppressed or oppressed to any degree or any level, you're draining your energy. Okay, so suppression and oppression is also an energetic drainer. Okay, so what's the ideal situation in evolving the human relationship? Now, like I said, there are exceptions to everything, but generally we know that that's pretty much a typical rundown on a relationship in our society in North America or in America, right? Usually have if you got two friends, usually one is the aggressive, the one that you would consider to be the leader. You know what I mean? Then the other one is kind of the tag along, right? Um, so the thing is, ideally, when we're evolving the human relationship, we want to probably go more from. It's probably better to be past two people to be a passive relationship, meaning a passive person and another passive person. But that's better than passive aggressive. But the thing is, with passive, that's still a draining relationship, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you have two passive people, you're constantly wasting energy not trying to step on each other's toes. Have you ever seen those type of relationships or even been a part of one of those type of relationships where both of you are trying to be so politically correct and so respectful of the other and so considerate of the other that you're draining all your energy trying to do that, right? So while that's better than passive aggressive, ideally, I'm sorry, while that's better than passive aggressive, I think more so the relationship needs to be passive aggressive on each from each individual standpoint. So I spoke of passive aggressive at first, meaning a passive person in a relationship and an aggressive person in a relationship. Now I'm talking about a passive aggressive person and another passive aggressive person. That should be the ideal, or that's the closest thing to an ideal relationship. The reason I say that is because when you're a passive aggressive person, you are willing to understand that you can't control everyone and you can't control every situation. So you're willing to let things go that you can't control. Okay. Now we know with a lot of assertive people, headstrong people, they want to try to control everything, even things that they can't. All right, and that's how they stress themselves out a lot of times, and that's why they lose a lot of energy because they're constantly trying to fight against something that they have no control over. Okay, of the outcome. And but passive aggressive, you're willing to let things that you can't control go while still being assertive, okay, and not being too passive, okay? So when you have two people like this, you two people can respect each other, okay? While still asserting yourselves. So you can disagree, you can agree to disagree, so to speak. And then you set those boundaries and then you guys have that mutual respect, okay? And then you guys get to maintain your energy. You're not draining yourself by trying to be too nice, and you're not draining yourself by always trying to be dominant. All right? So that is the idea when I say evolving the human relationship. If we can get to that where we are two people or however many people that's in a group relationship where we are passive aggressive people, not passive and or aggressive, but we're the individual is passive aggressive. Okay. Now, the reason why all this is important is because when trying to further people and when as we're trying to become better people as individuals so we can better our situations and advance humanity as a whole. I don't want to say I hate when I say that, but I know it sounds kind of cheesy when I say that, like advance humanity, like, but seriously, when we're trying to become better people so we can move things along, right, and advance, we have to, in order to do that, we have to be able to work together, guys. And so in working together, we have to be able to do that in ways where we are respectful and mindful of each other, okay? And we can't get anywhere if somebody's always trying to assert themselves as the boss, assert themselves as the leader. Look, we're all the boss, we're all the leader, okay? And that's why you have situations a lot of times where people can't get things accomplished and can't get things done because egos always get in the way. Now we are in a new time, guys. We are approaching a new time, okay, where it's time for us to grow up, okay, as a species. All right, it's time for us to grow up, okay. Now if we're going to advance ourselves, we're going to have to learn how to work together. And these are some things that we can be mindful of so we can work together and so we can push things along, okay? So stop stepping on each other's toes. Um, Stop being egotistical. And these are all things that we all have to work on. I have to work on them. When you initially see things, when you see something out in society, it's nothing but a reflection of what's going on with yourself a lot of times. So a lot of times when you see things going on out there, as opposed to judging it, try to turn things around and look at yourself and then try to correct it within yourself. And then when you start working on yourself, then you'll see it as a reflection in the rest of the world. Okay. Um, Let me see. Oh, I want to talk about why a person may be Who's the strongest person in a passive aggressive relationship? Who's the more healthier, more sound person? You guys know? Now, I would say that the person that's passive probably is. You know why? What is the reason that quote unquote headstrong, aggressive person always feels like they need to be trying to assert themselves? Well, it's a certain level of insecurity that comes along with that, okay? When you're good with yourself, when you're good with your situation, you don't have to keep on trying to prove it to anybody else, right? But if I threaten you, or if you feel insecure in any kind of way, then you're going to constantly be trying to not just prove it to someone else, but you're constantly, really, it's a battle going on within yourself where you're trying to prove it to yourself that you're on top, okay? And that's going to always get in the way of progression, all right? That's going to always get in the way of progression. So we have to lay our egos down. Still have self-respect, okay? You still have self-respect, but put your ego down so we can start working together to get things done, because you can't do anything by yourself. All right, so that's why this video is important. All right, evolving the human relationship. Thanks for listening to me, guys. Hopefully this was insightful. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it gets your mind kind of thinking about that, because stuff like this sometimes is kind of those things that kind of goes without being said. It's those things that if you got common sense, you know it, but you don't. You know, it takes for somebody to hone in on it for you to really, sit back and think about it. You know what I mean? So that's that, guys. Peace. Have a good one. See you next time.